And it is the time. It is it. And yeah, I'm feeling, whoo, I'm feeling, I got that gumption in my junction, bro. I'm feeling that lift in my gift, And I get that when I go out in nature, I get that recharge. I get nature just puts like a hose of just nature sauce right into my veins, and I just feel like I start feeling a little more just part of the earth. I feel more like I could just, if I see a rabbit, and I wouldn't be scared or anything, even if he was violent. And even if he had a little knife on him, or even if he had a little cut of, a little sack of cocaine or something on his little ass. I would be more, you're just more in touch with nature. A bird will shit on you and you'll smile a little. You'll still be pissed, but you can giggle first. You're like, look, all right. Now I'm pissed, but all right. Good to be here. We're late. The podcast is late. We're late. Did you know?
Hey, Theo. This is Antonia. My husband, Caleb, and I were a little worried about you because your podcast didn't come on, and we always listen to it in the morning at any random time. I'm a registered nurse and been working a lot with the COVID patients.
Well, thank you for working up there as an RN, and I'm sorry that it's late, but aren't you glad that at least it is going to be late? Thank you guys for thinking about me. Thanks for calling and checking. I appreciate it. Somebody else knew it was late.
Theo, Stovepipe, how you doing? Hey, I was looking for your podcast. It's not up yet, man. I'm not bagging on you. Just looking out for you. Hope you're well. And chitty gang.
And I'm sorry that it's late. I was out there and I was just enjoying. I went, I got in a dual person and single person kayak. I met a man. I was jogging, and I met a man over there at from a group called Guru Zion, because that's where I went camping and stuff. Was out near, out east of St. George, Utah, and that's southern Utah, and it's really, they got a lot of rock out there, mystery rock. You'll see hieroglyphics, petroglyphics. And that's basically this old graffiti. That's Indian graffiti right there. A native just carved something in there into a rock. He might have wrote, Rhonda's got that nasty. And you'll see that carved into a rock from a couple hundred years ago. Oh yeah, little sidestep has that, it'll be a lot of Native American graffiti, like, little sidestep has that pow titty. You'll see, just like graffiti you'd see now, but it's from the past. And you can go on different trails and see it. And they got real weathered looking. A lot of people, they've been standing in the wind out there, because it gets real windy. Oh, if you put your ear up to a damn kite, you'll hear that thing get erect. Because this is wind country. You'll see a sailboat out there just fucking walking around, because that's how much it enjoys that breeze out there and out in Ute. And it's it's just that, I got out there, I went and met up with my family, and it was just normal. I went to a restaurant. I went to a restaurant and had orders. I ordered something. Oh, you got something? Yeah, I got it. All right. I'll give you a little money for it, okay? You want to eat it here? Yeah, I'll eat it here. Hell, I'll pay you $4 extra. Watch me eat it. How is that not an option at a restaurant? For a few extra dollars, they watch you eat it. Here's $6 extra. Won't you watch me ingest this for, Won't you coach me on my eating? Okay, you chewing too hard with on the right side, you know? Won't you chew a little more on the starboard side? You know, balance your bow. There you go. All right, swallow. You know, it'd just be nice if they had, that could be an upsell option at a restaurant or eatery. If you're at a sweet local eatery and somebody says, okay, they buy that $19 steak, you know? They buy that high dollar meat cut. And then you offer that upsell. All right, for $5 extra, I'll watch you eat it. PTL, baby, praise the Lord. You know people would be enjoying, they would be buying that extra experience. Just to have that edible chaperone right there. That little chew daddy. That little swallow jockey right there. Watching you ride just watching you experience your food. Restaurants are going to start having to do that kind of stuff because of COVID. They're going to have to make that extra dollar. How do we pull in that extra side buck? Okay, here's what we're going to offer, a unique experience. You know, maybe I'll watch you eat for $7. I'll sit here. And my little chubby cousin will watch you eat. Big DeAndre or whatever. Or Big Keisha or whatever. Little Carrie. You know, something like that. For $9, I'll fucking tickle you while you eat. You telling me you wouldn't think about that upgrade option? I'm just telling you, we're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. You know, you guys had some calls on how things would change with COVID and what we could be looking at in the future. And I want to thank the audio on the way in. That was the North Mississippi All-Stars with their song Drunk Outdoors. And we'll put the link in the YouTube where you can purchase that. And also, you know, subscribe. You know, if you feel it. I don't like to ask for things. Or maybe I do. Hell, I don't know if I do or don't. But if you would like to be a subscriber of something, this is something. And would love for you to subscribe to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. I want to get into some things. You guys had some interesting concepts about how life would change in the new post-COVID. And here's a couple of thoughts that you guys had. Here was a call, gang.
Hey, bro, this Chief calling from Texas.
What's up, Chief? What up, Chief, boy? And you know this fella probably huffing on that bag. You don't get the name Chief these days. Chief used to be a Native American superior term. If you're a captain of the Native Americans. If you basically the Chris Pratt of Jawea. If you're a real, if you that top dog in the feather in that feather club, then you would get that name Chief. But more recently, Chief is more of little Gary does a lot of Chief in that hay, sucking on that gas, bro, puffing that goo goo, that herb, baby, that weed, huffing that nasty. He huffing that Mr. McGregor's gunpowder, dog. I'm talking about marijuana. I'm talking about that puff, puff, pow. I'm talking about that poo, 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 to your brain, that dope weed. Onward.
I was watching the podcast of the fucking Ladies Night one. Whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah, it was Ladies Night, brother. Onward.
Watching that shit just now, you said, what do you think is going to go away in the near future? Talking about people getting their temps taken and shit like that.
Right, we were talking about people last episode. We were talking about people getting their temperatures taken when you go to an event. You go somewhere, and now in the future they might take your temperature, check you for snot. They might touch your kid's little ass or something, see if it's hot, see if you bringing in a little Timothy or whatever with that hot ass, because you can't do it. You can't do that. You're not going to be able to do that as well. You bring in that up temperature tempathy, it's not going to go over well with others. Let's hear more, brother. Thank you for the call.
What's going to go away, I think, you're not from Texas like I am, but they probably had 10 or 15 Mexican restaurants in Louisiana. What's going to go away, though, is chips and queso and chips and salsa, son. That shit is done, homie. That's not going to be on the menu no more, son, unless you get it individually. It's not an appetizer no more. You know what I'm saying? Because what's everybody doing? They're getting the chips, bringing chips to the dip, putting it straight in their mouth, going back to the chips, going back to the dip, putting it back straight in their mouth.
Damn. Lean with it, rock with it, huh?
You can't sanitize every time you touch a chip. You know what I mean? Them chips are just going to be too salty after a while. So yeah, R.I.P. to queso and salsa, gang.
Gang, bro. Man, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to, each person will have to bring a couple of their own chips from home, I guess. And, or, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, you can't have that group. You can't have that swimming pool in the middle of the table. You can't have that little cheese fucking strip mall in the middle of the table and everybody's just scooping in, getting this, picking up a pair of Adidas or picking up a pair of Motorola or something, or get some speakers or some fucking Chinese food. That Chang chop, Yeah, they're not gonna have that group, they're not gonna have that little where everybody's just hands are in there, just that little bang, bang, bang up there with the chips. That's gonna be interesting, man. Yeah, that could be one thing that could go away. Now you got to bring a couple chips from home or something. You got to write, your name on a chip. Darren, Lil Ricky, and Lil Ricky got 4 chips. And Darren got 9 chips. Darren's big ass got 9 chips. And Hector over there, and he got, chips running his family, so he got 40 chips. Come on, Hector. No, you got 40 chips, bro? Shoot the 9-pointer, papa. But yeah, it's gonna be everybody. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to have that meet up in the middle of the table. That could be something that could change. Here's another thing. Let's go. How things could change.
Theo Vaughn, this is Pete from Central Pennsylvania.
What's up, Pete? And that's out of Central PA. And yeah, Central Pennsylvania. If you want to see the Amish, and the Amish are basically like they're kind of like, it's like Halloween, but it's kind of like the most boringest Halloween you ever been to, bro. And you got to work the whole time, dog. Anyway, they have a lot of Amish in Central PA. Gang shit, brother. Onward.
I live about an hour south of that Shamokin there where they burnt down the Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah. Up there in Shamokin where they burned down the Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, yeah. We used to meet up at the Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I had my parole officer. Sometimes we'd meet up over by the Dunkin' Donuts, bro. I used to, use the can in there, maybe wash out my pants in there, bruh. Gang. All right.
You know what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to call and comment about the change to the handshake you brought up on last week's podcast. Man, I came up with something the other day. I think it might catch on. I think I like to call it the ET greeting, where maybe you just outstretch that arm, stick that finger out, and just barely touch the tip. That way, you get a little greeting, but you can also maintain that social distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also might change the meaning of giving somebody the finger. So that's what I got, man. Love you. Love the podcast. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate this message. And could the handshake, we talked about that last week, could the handshake change? And what you would do? Because it does seem like a lot to give all 10 fingers out to somebody in a shake. So maybe you do that one finger, just that little that ET, that little touch me tender. And you would know if the other person's real wasted or not, because you have to touch their finger. You have to line fingers up. So if their finger, they can't even hit yours, then you'd be like, oh, this guy's all jacked up on something. Dude, and look, bro, I didn't know. I remember one time a buddy of mine, and he's a young homosexual fella, actually, and he's certified. He'll tell you he is. And he's been with men, and he knows he's, I'm not telling you, I'm not tattling on anybody's wiener. This guy's certified, prefers homoeroticism. And I remember the day he told me that he was, he really loved men like that, like specialty. And that he really liked to hug men and just, like he liked to sometimes put his hands up in another man's shirt while the man still had the shirt on. And things like that. And he said, I remember when he told me, I didn't know what to do, dude. He told me. And I didn't know what to do. This is probably about maybe 11 years ago. And I remember just taking one of my fingers, but I'm not even joking, and just put it into his mouth. Off of 23rd Street over there in Santa Monica by the park. And I don't even know why. And he laughed, and I kind of laughed afterwards, but I just didn't know I don't like certain interactions. You know how to behave during it. Someone falls down a stair, or someone falls off the back of a building, of a one-story, of a ranch-style home. You know what to do. You run over, you help them. You put your hand, hey, you put both arms on them. Are you okay? What's up? Somebody walks up to you, says hello. You know how to do it. You shake their hand. You put your hand out. They put their hand out. That's a shake. That's a meeting of hands. Each person brings one hand to the meeting. But they don't tell you what to do if somebody comes out of the closet. They don't give you, how do you behave? How do you gesticulate that? What do you do with your arms when somebody comes out of the closet? And I just didn't know what to do. I just remember taking one of my fingers and just put it right into his mouth, dude. And it was a natural reaction. It wasn't a choice I made. It was a non-choice that I did. But that's something that could change. People do something. What else? Now what do you do? Maybe you take somebody's temperature and slap them. Maybe you start smelling them. You smell the back of their pants like a baby. I don't know what it's. Anything could be, things are going to change. Another call came in. Things are going to change. Possibly.
Hey, Theo. What up, baby? Gang, gang. This is Ryan from Worcester, Mass.
What up, Ryan? What the F, baby? What's up?
I had a comment on what you were saying last week's episode about some stuff that we might start seeing.
Oh, yeah, brother. And you sound fired up, buddy boy. You been having Red Bull or something? Onward?
It's kind of the new normal with all this going on. And one of the things I remember hearing on some news radio I was listening to the other day, at outdoor concerts and festivals, things like that, they're starting to experiment with, they want to fly these drones over the top of the concert, and these drones are going to have, infrared sensors that can tell if someone's hot. They can see if someone's running hotter than the rest of the concert goers. So they're going to fly these drones above. They're going to pick people out, and then whatever the security there is going to go walk up to them and be like, hey, we got to pull you outside, take your temperature or whatever, something like that.
Wow. Yeah, I could see it. You out there enjoying a little Willie Nelson, or a little, Megan the Stallion or something. Or Big Meg or whatever. You out there enjoying a little bit of skinny Adele. And next thing you know, they release a batch of hot hunters. Just temperature drones. Just a bunch of damn freaking Fahrenheit Falcons just nippling at you. And you got one buddy, he's hot, bruh. He's hot, but he still wants to party. He's on a couple hits of acid, you know? And he's deep, deep. You know, and he's listening to he's at one concert, but he's listening to another concert on headphones. You know? He's at Widespread Panic, but he's listening to Michael Jackson on his ear pods, and he's on 2 hits of acid. And he's running high on temperature and body temp. And he's saying, hey, guys, hide me, cover me. Because he don't want one of them electronic temperature birds coming and getting him. And then the bouncers come over. The heat bouncers. Hey. Look at, what's up, man? Are you hot, bro? It used to be you got to be hot to get in the club. Now, if you're hot, you got to get out the club. It's full circle. Hey, we need some ice cold bitches, man. Dude, only cold bitches. I'm talking about real, legitimate bitches from Norway, Nordic, Greenland, Iceland. Let me get that Antarctica girl. Bring her to the club. Oh, she only 88 degrees, man. She could stay in. Hell, she could be an investor. She could be a silent investor. It's going to be cold people only at the club. People going to be wearing ice around their neck. Real ice. Diamonds ain't shit, bro. I need 14 degree gold. Do you have that? That's what I need. Because it's going to change. Everything's going to change. Is it, though? I mean, look, do I really think it is? I really do not. I really do not. I really think that we've taken a good measure of trying to battle this virus. I think we've taken a really good measure. I also think it's time to get things back going. And there's some people like, life will never be the same. You know, some people are like, man, you will never. Children will be born in incubator. You won't even see your child till he's 7. You'll never go on a date. You're crazy. You'll never wash your own ass, boy. You will never wash your own ass, boy. You little freak. You little bitch. But that's not true. I think things are going to go back very normal. I really do. I really, really do. Here's another call that came in. You guys had so many great ideas, man. As always, the hotline is 985-664-9503. You guys had so many interesting things that could happen. You know, that could happen. Onward.
Yo, Theo, my name's Chris Jones. I'm from Des Moines. I just had a...
What's up, Chris Jones? And I used to know a fella named Toby Jones. Or actually, Chris Jones was his name, and they call him Toby. And he was real, real white. And his eyes was always open pretty wide. You know, he kind of had those eyes where, you know, he would tell you he was going to sleep, but you didn't believe him. You were like, no way. And he was a young fella that lived by me growing up. And he was kind of tough. He was a rapscallion, and he wore kind of large shirts that were collared and just a damn large shirt. And sometimes his shirt was so big, he'd go inside. He'd be like, look, man, I'll be right back. And he would just go inside of his shirt. Or what? Where is he? And he'd come back out and have a licorice or have a Jolly Rancher. Like, damn, that shirt's come with a damn kitchenette. But they called him Toby, and he was a good friend when I was young, and he was a good kid, and I enjoyed I enjoyed living in the same neighborhood as that boy, kind of. Onward.
Comment, just kind of an experience with this whole coronavirus thing that I don't think anyone's called in with yet, or at least I haven't heard it. So my uncle passed away a couple weeks ago.
Oh, damn, man. Sorry to hear that, brother. And R.I.P. to his beautiful ass, brother. And I'm sure he was a good man, brother. And, it's an interesting journey, life, because you can die. That's the real caveat. Onward.
All good. I'm not been out of shape about it really too much or anything. He was a good dude. He had stage 4 colon cancer, and he fought it for 2.5 years.
Oh, man. I cannot even fathom, brother, fighting something that is in your own ass. That is, that's like a level, that's like a Zelda or that we'll never know about. I mean, that is the ultimate Mortal Kombat, really, is fighting a curious disease that is inside of your own ass, body ass. You know what I'm talking about, butt. And I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, my father passed away of colon cancer too, and it's crazy to think that something could be in your ass that doesn't like you or that doesn't want you to be alive. Onward.
My family was mainly grateful for that. And so he lives in Kansas City. In Kansas City, they're still shut down. They couldn't have more than, however many people in the building for the funeral. And he has 5 kids and his wife and then the pastor and the videographer and all that, because they were putting the funeral on YouTube. So long story short, my dad didn't even get to go to the funeral. None of us were able to go to the funeral. His kids were able to and his wife was able to and everything. We just watched his funeral on YouTube just a couple hours ago.
Wow. So they YouTubing death. The Grim Reaper is upgrading his technology. That's what it's come to, people. The Grim Reaper is upgrading his technology. Okay? This man have to be somewhere watching his uncle die on a damn YouTube. Onward.
And it was just kind of a trip. It was just really weird, and I'm like, the emotion wasn't really there watching this funeral on YouTube, and even for my dad, it just wasn't quite the same. He even said something about it, just, the human brain maybe processing that kind of emotion differently. I don't know, man. Just kind of weird.
I'm very sorry to hear about the passing in your family, and I'm really sorry for your dad. I got to see my brother this weekend out there in Ute, and it's a special gift to have a brother, and man, I bet that was really tough for him. But Jeepers, friend, when you hear this and how are you going to be on you? What if in the middle of the thing, you get an email reminder or a notification of a damn TikTok or something, and they're right there. Johnny was a good man, and he survived today by, and then it's like, ding. What if somebody comments on the thing? Gang first. What if somebody writes that on the frickin' funeral? It just, that's just a crazy, somebody writes first on your uncle's funeral. Or somebody writes like, oh, I thought this was magic and I thought they were going to cut the thing in half or something. It just, it all could get wild. It all could get wild. Those are some great suggestions, man. Some great thoughts about what could happen. What could the world be like? I was I was in Springdale. I was in Rockville, and I had a nice time. got to go fishing, and I caught an endangered animal fish. I caught an endangered animal fish, and that little bastard, he looked rare. Right when I saw him, I said, damn, he looks... some fish look like they live in the lake that they're in. Some fish look like they just passing through, like they're from like a different place. Like, oh, okay. And he had that vibe. Oh, this little fella's an out-of-towner. He ain't a local boy. He seemed like he had read a few books, like he had a different vibe in him. And it was a chub. It's called a North Chub Endangered Utah. And this fish, well, the Utah chub. And the river I was in was called the Virgin River. And it's a special river. The Virgin River, Utah. Let me tell you about it. I want to tell you one interesting fact about this waterway. The Virgin River chub, federally listed endangered species, 18-incher. Rare and beautiful, it says here. This fish is the top native predator in the Virgin River. And I could have sensed that a little. It was daytime when I caught it, but I could see it getting into some shit at night. It had that look about him. The Virgin River chub feeds on small fish insects, and they like deep pools with boulders and debris. And I caught one of those bastards, boy. And I caught him on liver. I fish on chicken liver, and I fish on worm, American worm. And yeah, I caught him, man. So that was nice. We caught a couple bullheads. And my brother caught a snapping turtle, a big thing. And we put everything back. We put everything back. I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Raycon. Raycon. And we like to have things personalized for us these days. Some people that you like to, if I'm playing a game of a video game or something, I like to be by myself. I don't like to play in a group. I feel extra pressure or brain pressure or body pressure. But Raycon, they offer a personalized experience. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you are listening to. Some people, if you're catching a funeral you missed, you can catch it right there. You can catch it and hear it as good as possible. And that's how Raycon helps you. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds. But before you go dropping hundreds of dollars on a pair, you need to check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds start at about half of the price of any other wireless bud on the market. And you got to think, some of these brands out there, earbuds aren't even their specialty. But people buy those. But Raycon, they specialize in sound. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet. With 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass. If you want that boom, boom, boom in your head, if you're listening to a crime podcast and you want to feel that, fella sneaking up the back stairs with the tire iron. You want to feel that intensity. They have a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, they're perfect for conference calls if you do group calls or binging podcasts. Unlike some other options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet. There's no wires, no stems hanging out. You're not going to have somebody come up and light the end of your ear pod thinking it's a cigarette. Some people think, oh, your ear's doing a doing a damn Camel Light or Camel Crush. The company was co-founded by Ray J and other celebrities. Now the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon, BUYRAYCON.com/Theo. That's BUYRAYCON.com/THEO for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Theo. Go check it out and support the pod, please. This past weekend likes to support small businesses, and we want to support Lakeside Maple. Lakeside Maple specializes in trail mix baked with pure maple syrup. Sometimes you'll see a tree and it'll look like it is just so happy and so fun and joyous. And usually that tree has maple syrup in it. Lakeside Maple has 3 flavors: original, spicy, and ginger chai. And my favorite, I believe, is that ginger chai. All of their mixes are made by hand by fans of this podcast. Did you know that? Lakeside Maple listens to This Past Weekend. It's a great snack if you're on the go or in your car, or a snack at work or anything. Hell, you could be in a gangbang and need to carb up a little. Or just add a little bit to your yogurt in the morning also. Get in there and try out the best trail mix that everyone thinks is granola, but it's not. It's trail mix. Also, try the new trail mix butter, a combination of almonds and sunflower seeds baked with pure maple syrup and fresh ground into the butter. Wow. Go to lakesidemaple.com and use code THEO at checkout for 15% off. That's promo code THEO at checkout for 15% off. Lakeside Maple. Get that mix. I'm going to go buy some. I'm going to send it to my mom. And she listens to this now, so now she's going to expect it. Damn. Let's get back to the show. Who is listening? That's who I like to know. Got a couple listeners right here. Let's catch them.
Yo, Bizzle. This is Joe from Philly.
What up, Joe from Philly?
Gang, gang.
Gang, bucko.
Just calling in to say, yo, man, your show is funny as hell, bro. All night while I'm at work doing overnight freight, I have my Bluetooth earphones in.
Gang, brother. And I appreciate you listening. Overnight freight as well. Also a nickname for burglary or burglary. And I like the way you terminize it. But, and I don't disrespect it. I don't disrespect criminalism if you're a businessman. If you out there just pocketing a little of this or a little of that. But if you working at a job overnight and doing overnight freight or whatever, I respect that shit, bro. Gang shit. Another gentleman.
Hey, Theo. This is Logan from Alberta, Canada. Just wanted to let you know who you got listening way up here in the Great White North. Like I said, up here in Canada, I'm a blacksmith.
Ooh. And what a dichotomy, a blacksmith in the Great White North. And that's about the most Canadian thing. You know, it's so white there, they got to make a black guy. Isn't that crazy? You got a dude out there chiseling out a black dude in a shed. You know, chiseling together a Darius. Or, you know, chiseling together a Sharkish.
I'm actually a farrier, so what that is I take raw steel and I build horseshoes in a forge and an anvil, old school style, just like the medieval days. Build horseshoes and knives and stuff, and predominantly I build horseshoes and nail them on horses' feet so they can go up and go to work.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, man. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's what's being done. And I think that's beautiful to be taking care of a horse's foot. Because the rest of us, we see a horse, we don't think about that. I see a horse, I think I want to put a couple of dollars on this one. Striped Passenger or whatever his name is. Birdie's diary. You know, Johnson's pocket. I'll throw $200 on that thing. You know, Tricky Russell. I'll throw $40 on Tricky Russell to come in third. But you don't think that there's somebody sees a horse and says, you know what, boy? About to throw some shoes on that bitch. And look, I think that's beautiful. I would love to see you guys up the ante, though. I'd love to see you put a little, I'd love to see you guys put a Nike on a little wolf. I'd love to see you throw a damn croc on a croc. Now that would be some G shit. I mean, I think it's savage as hell to be hammering a piece of metal into a Clydesdale. But if it helps them, then I think it's beautiful. But I would love to see you put a damn put a little piece of FUBU footwear on a frog. Now that would be crazy. Or throw some Asics on a I'd love to see an Asic on a fox. People are like, damn, that fox is fast as fox. Because he got Asics. Thank you guys, though. Thank you for supporting the podcast. I want to let you know that flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it's time to mow your lawn. I want to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, and that's body. They take care of full body action, hair. You can trim the hedges below the belt safely. Excuse me, had a couple almonds. You can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. I'm talking about your balls, your scrotum, scrote. Manscaped is here to make sure your balls are smooth and smelling nice. Oh, yeah. After all, it's time for some spring cleaning. May I? That's the calendar. May I help you clean your nuts up? Sure, Manscaped. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming. You know it. I know it. They have forever changed the grooming game with the new Perfect Package 3.0 kit. It comes with that lawn mower, which is waterproof. Now you can trim your wick over there in the shower. Make sure your root is all tightened up. You know, I come from an area, Louisiana. And you know, when I was growing up, it was okay to have a little more hair around your root. And if you saw somebody's wiener, you barely saw it because it had so much hair around it. But now everybody's taking their wiener and just making it be fully visual. And Manscaped can help you do that. People want to see your wiener now. It's crazy, but it's true. Inside the Perfect Package, you'll also find the Manscaped Crop Preserver, which provides deodorant and moisturizer for your body and for your balls. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts when you subscribe to the Perfect Package. You'll get a replacement blade refill for your lawnmower delivered to your door every 3 months. Make sure your trimmer always stays hygienic and clean. The 2 free gifts, you get the Shed travel bag and the patented high-performance Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Nice. Take care of your package. This is the perfect package for your perfect package. Get 20% off and free shipping. Use the code Theo, T-H-E-O, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Theo at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code THEO. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you. You know, I remember when I was a child, for one year, I went to a school and it was called Lyon Elementary. And they misspelled it, Lyon. And named after this guy, Donald Lyon. And he was the first man actually in our town that had ever seen, I guess, that had ever seen a Louisiana black bear. And he didn't have one or anything, but he had seen it. And no one else had seen it. And there used to be value back then to seeing something before you could just have a camera or something. You had to see it and tell people. You could maybe draw them a picture or make them a thing out of clay. Oh, here it is. This is what it is, you know. It's a bear. You're like, well, damn, it looks like a fat goat. Well, I'm not that good of a sculptor, but that doesn't mean I didn't see it. And I went to that school, man. It was a school that was a little closer to where I grew up, and it specialized in special education. And these are a lot of children who are mentally unique, rare. A lot of kids you seem like they want to do magic or something, but they're just children. And they just, sometimes they be in remedial classes. You'll see a kid 4 years in the second grade. But all of them are happy about it, and they loved it, and it was good, man. And I went because it was close to us, and I enjoyed it. And the principal was this man, T-Roy Jackson. And he could whistle. Dude, this guy, God, he could whistle. My God, he could just pass wind through his lips, boy. He could just whistle, man. Imagine something flying out of your lips through a really small hole. Now imagine that thing is beautiful. That's whistling. And he could do it. And he could do it, man. He could whistle from one end of the property to the other. You could hear him at the other end of the property. And which is one of the reasons why he even got the job. And that man he could whistle. And sometimes, sometimes I still think about him. And I think he passed away. He might have died. All right. Let's get into a couple more calls here. Here we go.
Gang, bro, what up? Yo, Theo. I'm in a conundrum. Onions or Funyuns?
Ooh. That is a toughie, huh? Man, that is a toughie. Because you know it. An onion is the real deal. An onion comes with all the emotions. It's probably the national vegetable of this past weekend, listeners. This is the kind of podcast, sometimes you got to crack into that onion. An onion it's just it's the one that went to school and it got it's had some tough times and maybe it went through a bad marriage or two. And then Funyuns are just fucking onions that is gooped out. They gooped out on methamphetamines or, they've been smoking, doing cigarettes and doing a little bit of, sneaking a little sip of Fireball, at church or something. That's a tough one, man. Onions or Funyuns. But Funyuns got that fun in them. They go into community college, and they worked at Subway for a couple months before some shit went down and some money went missing. But onions, they grow in a real garden and they know other vegetables. They might have a carrot in their phone. They might have a way to get in touch with a rhubarb or something in a Rolodex at their house. An onion has a chance to be part of other recipes. An onion, you might see an onion in a salad, actually, not salad. You might see an onion in a salad. You might see an onion on the edge of a steak But Funyuns, nobody's ever serving a damn steak in Funyuns. A Funyuns ain't coming on a burger. So I'm staying real with it, man. Real with it, rock with it. I'm going onions. on that one. Thank you for checking in about that as well. We got this call that came in.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This is Brennan calling from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh, thank you for calling down there in Baton Rouge. You know, I spent much of time down there, and I bought some cocaine down there once and went jogging on it. And that's called running the gram, baby. Gang, onward.
I got a question for you. Who do you think would win in a feud between Hillary Clinton and Carol Baskin? Who's got the better hitman? And also, they both kind of look alike, don't they?
They do have a similar visual. When I get that visual of them, they look a little similar. Who would win out of Hillary and Carol Baskin? Ooh. Damn. Well, you know, Hillary's going to have a lot more firepower. She's going to have men in suits doing her business. She's going to have a lot more. She's going to have workers carrying it out. Carol's going to bait you with that kitty and then snuff you out. You know, Carol's going to do that, you know, flowered headdress. Let's go skip through the garden. And then, damn, hit you with that sharp rake. That's a tough one. I mean, Hillary just has so much. There's so much. You know, Hillary's going to be harder to get to. Carol's going to be probably kind of easy access. She's on YouTube. But Hillary, you might be able to bait Hillary more with something. I don't know. It'd be vicious. I'd love to watch them wrestle, man. I would love to watch them wrestle. That's a good one, man. That's a toss-up for me. That is a toss-up for me. What else is going on, man? I'll tell you. I was going to tell you when I was at that school. So I'm at that Lyon Elementary. And this was a secondary. The premier elementary school in our town was Covington Elementary. And Lyons Elementary was secondary. And it was a type of place. It was the Bad News Bears of education. It was, we didn't have some of the books, people had just written them. Some of the school books, somebody's daddy had written. You're like, Jesus, half of this is wrong. The kickball, it was just a volleyball. And somebody wrote kick on it with a marker. Or marks a lot. The windows had been like repurposed from a local prison. So a lot of them was that, you couldn't see through them. It was just mirror-sided. And you'd have people that carved crazy stuff into them. I didn't do it. God shall be my last decider. Just, prison chatter. It was just a secondary elementary. And they had this boy there, this kid, Wyatt Power was his name. And now, in hindsight, that's a wild name to have, dude. Wyatt Power. But at the time, it wasn't anything racial. It was probably like a family name. Because I think he was Wyatt, Wyatt Power the Sixth or whatever. And he always had a little cricket on him, or a little salamander. He always had a little snail or something, or a little half a handful of lightning bugs. Daytimers, making him work the daytime shift, and that shit hurt me. That shit hurt my feelings, man. When you see a lightning bug working in the daytime, you can't shake that once you've seen it. But I remember it was show and tell, and he told everybody in class that he was going to get a cricket, right, to pass gas, right? Because remember, when you were a child, this was 3rd grade. So passing gas or farting or doing body fart was about the most, it was like kind of like band for kids. I mean, it's the only instrument really. You have two instruments, your mouth when you do your underarm like that, and then your butt. So he would do farts, body farts. He said he could get a cricket to do one. So we're all like saying F, 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 or whatever kids say, not F, but whatever means F. F you, Wyatt, all of this and that. BSing him. Telling him to go BS himself. Well, here's what occurred. So the day he was supposed to do it, I remember seeing him at recess, and he was just pacing around and just scared, and he was on these shitty monkey bars we had, and a monkey, dude, if a monkey saw these monkey bars, he would not even go by them. They were more for a swan or something. You might see a sparrow on them. Everything at this school was just rot gut. And so I could tell he was nervous. I could tell he was scared, right? And because I'm like, he can't do this. He can't do this. A man can't get a little cricket to do a fart. He can't do it. So anyway, next thing I know, dude, we're back in class, and he had, I guess, gotten some flour, right? And we're all sitting there watching, and the teacher let him do it. They were like just right before class started. They were going to give him like 2 minutes to, he was a bit of a showman. So I remember, and this happened really fast, but he like threw the flour into, because we're all sitting there in like a semicircle. He threw the flour in everyone's face. And then while we were all kind of, what I guess he thought was going to be blinded by the flour, he turned around and he basically ended up defecating onto the floor of the classroom. But I think what he had meant to do was pass gas, do fart. I think he had meant to do fart. But he was going to blind us with the flour and then do a fart, a body fart. And then have us believe that the cricket had done it. Because there was a cricket, sorry. There was a cricket there. And instead, man, everybody had flour, and the next thing you know, I just remember it really smelled like poop, and then somebody said, "Oh, Wyatt pooped on the floor." And it was just, it's hard to pull off magic, it's hard to pull off magic if you're doing it all alone. But anyway, man, what else do we have? Let's get into a little bit more so we can get on with our day, man. Thank you guys for all the communication, and thanks for caring that the podcast was late. I was just enjoying myself. I was really just enjoying myself. We got a Patreon question that came in, and this is from Kim Chickens. Camping is fun. Beautiful country out here. How do you like being back inside? Do you have a balcony you can sit on to enjoy nature? I have a park near me, so I go over there. But yeah, it was really nice. I went and stayed at a campground. So, I went and stayed at a campground. I went with my friend, and it was nice. We stayed at a campground one night, stayed by my family's in-laws the other night. My brother and his wife were there with their children. And yeah, just, you hooked the water into the camper and just did it all. You got to take out the gray water, take out the dark water. Plugging in for electricity, running the generator. We didn't even use a generator. So that was nice. It was nice and cool. And if you've never driven through Zion National Park, the park wasn't open, but you could drive through it. You could motor on. And hot diggity. It was beautiful. And I like you go to a campground, they got somebody next door, they set up, they bring their whole life out there. They got a strawberry garden. Some people go camp at these campgrounds for a year. They'll do a 6-month lease. You park that thing, plug in the electricity, $50 a night. Phew. Beautiful. Great way to spend that stimulus check. Speaking of stimulus check, here's a call that came in.
What's up, Theo? This is Cooper down in Austin, Texas.
What's up, Cooper? Thank you for calling, brother. Onward.
I was just listening to the episode, and you talking about being grateful for the 1,200 and everything, and how our government's really helping us out. And listen, if you're struggling and you needed that 1,200, then I'm definitely glad you got it. But when you really look at it, man, at all the money they spent and printed for the stimulus, it was about $6 trillion. So, that's more than $15,000 per person. Most of that's going to, wealthier people. It's going all back to the top, and the reality is that's our money in the first place. They're just going into debt, robbing future generations. The government doesn't produce any money itself. So it's nice that people are getting a couple crumbs, but number one, it's their money in the first place. And number two, everybody's going into debt an additional almost $20,000 just to get a little thousand. So,
thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know a ton exactly how it works. I do know that if we just print money, that it lowers the overall value of money because there's more. Some people are just like, just give me money. Give me some dang money, man. Print money, man. You see people out there like, why can't the government just give me $60? Why can't they just give me $60, man? Well, I mean, they can, but it's just like in the end, the overall value of it goes down because if we just print more of it. There's definitely a lot more into it. I think my point I felt like was, just that, and I think you're saying it as well, that like we get to, it's nice on the surface if it looks this way, but that there's bigger things in the background going on that are affecting us more long term. And yeah, I agree, man, that there's a lot happening. But I guess, it's even if the money that we're making ends up lowering the value of our money down the road, if it, it might not be the best long-term move. But yeah, at least we're in a, whether it's good or not, it is interesting that we have, and it makes us feel good that we have a structure here in the U.S. where they can kind of, where at least people are able to be helped. I feel like we do help sometimes the lowest common denominator, people that don't want to contribute. I wish there was a way to see if people are contributing to society. I wish there was an evaluation or a score in a way. But it would have to encompass so many things. It would have to encompass, their ability based on their circumstances, based on their opportunity. It would have to encompass all those things. But yeah, just you get so many opportunities in America. If you lose your home, you can get you can get a mortgage, you can get a second mortgage, you can lose your home, you can get a mobile home. You could be homeless and still get money from the government. There's shelters. There's so much. There's so many. There's such a structure in place to help us. Now, how long can we keep it going? I don't know. Or at least the facade of it going? I don't know. It's really interesting, man. It's a bigger conversation, but let's hear a little bit more on what you have to say about it.
You got to take a little bit of a deeper look at it sometimes. You can't just take everything on face value. And, we do live in a great country and we live in a great society. And, you can't give all that credit to the government, though. It's just not the case. It's, the free market, it's the people, technology that's allowed us to live such comfortable lives. It ain't the goddamn government, man. So, yeah, man, as Eddie Bravo would say, look into it.
Yeah. Good call, man. Yeah, look into it. Yeah, it's interesting with the virus. Like that's why a lot of people they want to be able to open their businesses back up. They want to be able to go live normal lives again. And if we lived in a communist country or socialist, then the government could say, okay, shut down. You have to do it. That's it. But we don't live in that. We live in, a democracy where people can have businesses, and at a certain point, the people want their rights. They want to be able to run their businesses. So it's really interesting. It's a real experiment, and I understand why people now are like, let's get back. Let's take some chances at getting it back to normal. Other people are like, we want to kill everybody. You're going to kill everybody. Well, I mean, some people could stay home. I mean, that's the thing about America. It's like everybody has a say. And the government isn't the be all end all. And the people have a voice, or at least we think that we do. It's interesting, man. It's a lot of interesting levels of stuff going on. I felt like when I was I was just in southern Utah, but I felt like I went to just a whole new world. But I was able to go to restaurants. There was one horrible place I went to called Porter's, I think it was. Jesus Christ. Why would you sell food to somebody if your food isn't any good? You're wasting your time. You're wasting their time. Hey, this is garbage. You want some? You're gonna hate it. And I don't even like it. I work here and I don't even like it. So nobody cares along the entire transaction line. Anyway, let's take another call or two that came in, man. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. This is Adrian Gregory calling from down here in Oklahoma.
What's up, Adrian? Thank you for calling, young fella. Gang shit.
I'm sitting here listening to your latest episode, and the guy where he went to college for 9 years and this and that, and that's badass that he graduated finally. Kind of had a similar story, growing up, wrestling, throughout school. Got a couple scholarships for wrestling. Turns out, ended up getting my girlfriend pregnant.
Oh, yeah, boy. Wrestling with that ass, you feel me? Wrestling with them ovaries, baby. Gang.
Wife now, we've been together for 13 years, but had to put some of my dreams on hold, but come this December, I'll be graduating and working on power lines out here, gang shit. Keep doing you, man. I really enjoy it. Gang, gang, buzz, buzz.
Man, I like to call, man. You always have to work. We got to stay working, and you say you had to put your dreams on hold, and I could understand that. It's got to be really tough. I've always had the dreams also of having a family and of being able to be in that comfortable situation, and having that place to go home to in the evening, and you open your door and there's somebody there that cares about you and that you care about. And you maintain that. You wake up each day and go to bed each night knowing that, this is my family, and I'm not straying from this plan, and this is what I'm here to do. And it's funny because to me that's almost a dream. Telling jokes and screwing around, basically, or whatever I do. I don't know, but that kind of stuff was always the easier part for me. But when I think of walking into a home and, having there be someone that I love and, and I want to touch them and be naughty and everything, and they got a child or something in the other room, maybe doing one of those color by numbers or doing drawing some shit or something. But, just having that place, having that continuity. You know, there's a lot of power in that. That's a real dream, man. I think, you know, you'll get other chances for your, you know, you got to wrestle. You'll get other chances to wrestle, bro. Hell, you up there wrestling with Voltage, daddy. Dude, you up there wrestling with them gigawatts. Dude, that freaking, I'd hate to see one of those strong cables put you in a damn leg lock, son. That shit'd be lights out. Dude, that thing will blow your occipitals right out of your ass. But congratulations, man. 9 years in school, you got it. You got your family. And look, now they got all these older leagues. You could always get into a 40 or older wrestling. You know, I mean, I still want to go and train some jiu-jitsu. I still want to get out there onto the mats. You know? But yeah, you know, we all have dreams, and some of them we get to do now and some of them we get to do later, man. But it sounds like you're making some things come true in your life and also in the lives of others, man. So I see you. I see what you're doing, bro. You know, and be safe up there, dog. Dang, you up there on them power lines, boy, you wildin'. You wildin', bro. Good luck, dude. Don't make me go to a damn YouTube funeral. Don't make me comment buzz because of the power. That would be the first thing I would comment. All right, let's get through this this wonderful episode. We got another text that came in from Patreon. Aaron Lugo, did you see any beautiful stars out in southern Utah? I did see some stars. I did see some nice stars out there. What did I see? Man, the mountains are just, it was the most beautiful place I've seen in America. I mean, it really was. It just so majestic. I mean, we went out to Gooseberry Point. We went up to KTR. We found snow for the kiddos, and, you know, the nephews got to throw snow. I met a kid out there who had a mullet just like me, a little fella named Colton or something. Or Colby or something, I think named after the cheese. And just a beautiful group out there. My little nephew was weird, bro. He was putting the front of his pant, like his wet part of his crotch in the, like the front part of his pants in the water. Just cooling off his junk. Just kids are weird, man. Kids are weird and they're wonderful, but they're also weird. But yeah, I had a nice time, man. I was lucky to be able to go do that, and it was a little risky at first, but look, I think we're going to smoothly get back into regular life, and I'm looking forward to it. That's really what I think. And I hope everybody's adjusting and getting ready to adjust comfortably. And I hope that people have found some joy and some good things have happened to them during this time. Let's take a call. Here we go. 985-664-9503.
Hey, Theo. This is Tanner from Nebraska.
What up, Tanner? And from Nebraska, baby.
And this is my third time calling. The first time I ended it a little short, and the second time I got interrupted by a work call. So I just wanted to say that my car got broken into, and I lost all my tools that I need for school because I'm going to be an electrician. I'm on the last quarter to be an electrical technology associate degree. So I just wanted to tell everybody to be safe and keep your tools locked up, and don't leave prescription glasses because they'll take those too. They'll take everything, your aux cord, and even my cologne. So there must be a market out there for that, for used cologne.
Well, I used to, my mother for a little while was in the secondary magnet market. People throw magnets away and they don't want them anymore, refrigerator magnets and that kind of shit. And for a while there, in the 90s, there was a secondary market there for magneting. Onward.
They left my car next, so that's good. But I just want to say thanks for everything you do. Stay safe, lock your cars, lock your house. Gang, gang, buzz, buzz.
Gang, man, I'm sorry to hear about your tools, man. That really... Who would take your tools, dude? You got to finish up school, man. Let me see if I can hit your hotline here, dog. Tanner got them hitters. Hey, man, this is Theo Vaughn, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hey, how's it going, man? I got your call about the tools, man. What happened?
Yeah, so I mean, it was this last Sunday, and I went over to my girlfriend's house, and she lives like 5 minutes away from us, where I live with my 2 buddies, and I went over to her house for a normal night, and I came out, and I got in my car. I just noticed everything was kind of thrown around. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Maybe my girlfriend came in like in the night and like threw stuff around. And so the first thing I did is I went out in the trunk, and all my tools, everything was gone. My sunglasses were gone. They left me my chapstick, but yeah, everything was gone.
Oh, man, dude, that's the worst, bro. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. And it's for school?
Yeah, so I'm in a trade school to be an electrician, and I'm in my last quarter. So I do my plumbing class, which is now online because of Corona. But then, so my next step is just to get a job out in the field, and then I'm done with my degree.
Word, man. Well, congratulations, dude, on almost being done with the degree. I wanted to see if maybe we couldn't help out by, if there's tools that you still need replacing, man, we'd love to replace them for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, honestly, I've tried to tell everyone, like, this is just, like, a horrible thing that happened, but, I mean, it does happen, and, I mean, I've been in a pretty great position with my family. They've kind of taken care of me, and it's really remarkable. All the people have reached out and asked me if I needed tools, so, I mean, there is some stuff that would be nice to get, but I don't want to force you guys.
Oh, no. Well, no, man, I like your attitude, brother. Yeah, we'd love to, we'll have Nick reach out and see if there's a couple of things that we can't help out with, or, things that you need to, that you still need. And whatever it is, man, we want to help out, dude. I think it's cool to get a trade, and, and especially, you're there so close to the finish line, and I hate it when that kind of stuff happens, man.
Yeah, I told, like, my buddy's dad, I told him about it because I work for him at the moment, and he said just make sure you don't lose your faith in humanity, because not all people are like that, and that kind of hit home for me. And, I mean, you can't just walk around with your head down. I mean, it's a bad lesson that I had to learn, and it sucks, but, I mean, not all people are like that, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. I love that lesson, bro. I'm glad you just said that, man. It's because it's so easy that we could just say, oh, everything's like that. It's so easy to just jump on that. It's a little harder to keep our own head up and to kind of hold the line and say, you know what, that's just one thing that happened. It's unfortunate, but that's not everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing is if you start thinking about it like that, then, I mean, think of all the times that it hasn't happened to you. Like, how many times have you gotten to somewhere safely and you haven't even thought about, wow, I didn't die today? Like, it's easy to focus on the negatives, but it's hard to, like, focus on the positives. So that's my kind of message, and that's what I've learned over this last week, of just kind of working through it and just protecting myself and my family. Is just recognize when you do have something good. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. I love your attitude, man. I'm gonna have Nick reach out and keep in touch, and if there's things that we can help you replace, or anything you know that you need to help you get through to the end of the semester, and we want to help out.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it so much, and thank you guys for doing everything you do. You keep me going through it and everything, so I appreciate it.
Well, that's nice of you to say, man, and best of luck too with this last semester.
Thank you so much, Theo.
All right, peace, Tanner, man. Have a good day, brother.
Gang.
All right, gang, bro. Peace. Man, that's nice. That's nice to be reminded. it's nice to be reminded that, we can look at, we can look at all the rocks, or we could ride in the river, man. Yeah, that really hit me at is to focus on the good, bruh. There's a lot of good out there, a lot of fun stuff going on, a lot of people having fun. We'll take this last call that came in. This was kind of wild, but I wanted to hear it.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This is Tyler from Texas. Man. I wanted to tell you that I rear-ended your car on my 18th birthday in Covington, Louisiana. And you got out, and I was like, oh, my God, it's my birthday. And I just crashed my car, and I had a Ford Focus, and you had I think it was a Camry or something. And you said, it's your birthday? And I said, yeah. And you said, it's all right, man, get out of here. And you let me go. Never forget that shit. Gang.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Well, I'm glad that it worked out that way, Tyler, man. Dude, I remember I would borrow a Camry sometimes, and I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I would get, I would dip chewing tobacco real heavy, that plug tobacco, and I'd vomit out of the windows of it. So who knows, man? I could have been not in a car that I was supposed to be in, but I'm glad we both made it out unscathed from that. Thank you guys, man. Thanks for making this episode was fun. This was fun. Just hearing, getting people's different points of views and just, I don't know, just being alive. There's fun. This is it. This is the gift. And a lot of the gift is each other, and a lot of the gift is the experiences that we have and sharing them. And I'm not trying to preach that. I believe that. I believe that, and I believe that right now after this episode. This just made me feel it was fun. Shit, I got a guy here who we got in a car accident. We got some blacksmiths. We got a guy making black people in Canada. I mean, if that isn't, that's beautiful. If that isn't trying to help another race, I don't know what is, man. It's just, there's a lot going on, brother. There's a lot going on. I'll take one more. Let's go.
Hey, Theo. This is Tate from Des Moines. I'm just calling in. I listened to that ladies' night, and man, it touched my soul, man, in a lot of ways. You're talking about life and what's going on in these current times, and I just wanted to call in, man. I've been listening for a while now, and you do help people, man. You really do, and I'm sure you know it. I'm sure you get told it every day, but I mean, I struggle with some of the same problems that you do, man. Like not being able to lead myself, that addiction piece and that depression piece, man. It's legit. I've been struggling with that for.
You just want to just pat him on the fucking back, boy. I just want to spray paint my hand red, white, and blue and pat them bitches on the back and get the fucking truth out of them. What are you trying to say? It sounds like Japanese, but they fucking they're nasaled out or something. It sounds like somebody hit a bunch of cotton in a Japanese dude. God, dude. You just can't get it. Sounds like somebody just ejacking out into the just somebody just got stuck ejaculating, Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So anyway, I'm angry. I guess I am fucking keyed up today, man. A lot of shit going on. I'm trying to quit vaping. It's vaping, motherfucker. So I'm still on that shit, dude. God damn. I'll fucking put my tongue in a damn birdhouse, baby, and lick the walls. I don't care. That's just where I'm at today, dude. I'll eat a damn bird's ass, bro. No cap. Praise God, man. We're working through it. But dude, I went to France. We went to, a lot has happened. I want to thank everybody that came out in Colorado. I just went into that advertiser voice, like whenever some of the ads are like, if you're doing the tour date reads, that's the voice sometimes. I just noticed that. Yeah, sorry, I'm amped up. I feel like there's so much to tell you guys. So yeah, let's just start. I went over to Colorado and man, it was awesome. God, it was fun. It was good. We went to Pueblo, and it used to be a native town, I think. And I don't know a lot of the history, but we went there, and it's beautiful. We went and saw the mountainsides in the distance, monuments, national monuments, beautiful place. I mean, just damn kind of place you want to just damn push your spouse off of. Just beautiful cliffs and dwellings and just God. That's where God shows up in places like that. That's where you get up on those mountains and you look out and you can hear God saying, "This ain't an app, homie. Welcome to my bandwidth, dog. Look what the Lord's doing." And that was good. We seen a lady out there too. I didn't know, it's a mining town. If you're not familiar with that. And it used to be anywhere people mine. It's just people just damn digging in the dirt looking for something. And people, look, people will dig far. I grew up a lot of wishing. I grew up on the wishing well circuit. I mean, they had a lot of people. Our town was, semi-famous for the number of wishing wells it had in it. So you'd see people rolling through town just nickeling up the fucking earth, baby. Just fucking humming dimes into Mother Nature's orifices, Just damn, if the wind blew right, you could hear damn 60 cents hitting the damn bottom of a well somewhere. People just wishing their ass off. Because we had about 6 wells in our town, wishing wells. And if you're not familiar with a wishing well is basically, it's like a place you go to wish for something that you want. And I don't know how it started. I guess a wishing well, somebody dropped their money into a hole in the ground and just wish they hadn't. There's no other way for that to have had, And then they probably felt so ashamed, they just built a thing around it and just said, "Hey, everybody come do this shit." But, yeah, so we went to Colorado. It was just great. People came out. So we had a couple of devout lesbians over there got in the little Violencia after one of the shows outside in Denver. That was interesting because that's where, a lot of lesbians, they're starting to peak out. When some lesbians, they got so much man in them, that shit will peak out every now and then. But they were just damn trying to beat each other into just, I think, and it should be if enough lesbians beat each other and whoever wins gets to be a man. What are we doing, if we're not giving goals and opportunities? If we're not, because if you see two hardcore fucking, wallet wanters out there, they out there hunting that slick wallet, homie, and you see them go at it and one of them win. What do they get? But one of them should be able to hit that final form and unlock just basic dude at a library. Yeah, you don't get top dude. You got to start at library dude. You got to start over there at Hogwarts Henry, babe. You don't get to start just at the top. You know, you don't get to be like a MacGyver or a who's a famous young man that's talented? Joe Burrow. All right. What else? So anyway, that was Colorado. And now Pueblo, yeah, that was a mining town, and we saw they had a woman there. We passing down the street, and the lady's over there digging in a garden, mining. We seen a woman over there just hand mining, just looking for items, and she had damn half of a Claire's boutique in her hand. She had probably, this bitch had a half of Zales in her palm. There's pictures right here in the YouTube. If you're watching it, she had, this bitch had half a Kohl's jewelry counter right there. And it was funny because it was like, who would look? She was looking in a median of a walkway where a guard, you're like, who would ever look for gold there? And this lady was just hands and knees out there. And this lady, she had a kind of a middle age on it. She was probably anywhere from like about 28 to maybe 55, 56. And she looked like Greg Valentine. That's who I'm thinking of. And he was a famous wrestler. And if you put them side by side. But she was out there digging in this garden. And we walked up, and I figured maybe she'd been on some tough times, so we're going to, drop her a little bit of cash and just say hello and check in on her. And she said, I'm looking for treasures. And I asked her, well, why are you looking here? She goes, because nobody looks here. And I looked at the space, and it was just a garden. It was like a place nobody even walks through it. You have to it was up in the air and then a garden. It was like a kind of somebody you'd see they'd put a garden in like the middle of a walking area in a nice part of town, And then she showed me in her hand, she had some gold bullion in there. She had a couple necklace pieces and different gold. She had real gold she'd found. And I was like, damn. I don't know, just interesting. This lady's looking where nobody looks. And if you just said in the beginning, hey, look there, everybody said, nah, that's crazy. Nobody even walks up there. You can't. There's not even there's no way to get. Who would walk up there? And here she was, half a handful of gold. But yeah, she reminded me of Greg Valentine, who I used to love and adore, and he's probably dead. All right, anyway. But yeah, I want to tell you, then we went skiing, and what else? I got a letter from Kai the hitchhiker, which blew my mind. Went to Paris, France. All those things occurred. But yeah, we went skiing, and it was magical, man. We went over to Beavers Creek. And if you haven't been to Beavers Creek, it sounds like a bladder infection, really. It sounds like if somebody sits down, like a woman that sits down and she can't stop her vagina maybe from making a sound, or, like, hey, girl, Wouldn't that be crazy if some women, if they sat down and their vagina made like a, like you guessed the wrong answer on a game show, like, that one be like, oh, dang. That woman's got a gay dude stuck in her vagina, bro. But, yeah, we went to Beavers Creek, bro, and it was magical, man. We just went out, and there was nobody out there. It was the day after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it was just, there was nobody out there. And it was, oh, man, it was so amazing. We went out there, and we met this one dude. Actually, this was like every dude, but there was this one dude. He worked on the slopes, He was like, bro, we caught devil's femur, bro. Yeah, right. It was fresh out of the gate, man. We got out there. It was just, you couldn't hear it. You could hear your fucking dick whisper, homie. We were out there, man. And it was like, I think it was top of the morning. I don't know. I've been on Molly and computer duster for like a while, you know. The doctor says I'm going to be fine, but that the residual effects of the computer duster could last for up to half a decade. So, but we were out there, man. God, it was sick, bro. Yeah, I broke both of my clavicles. Yeah, I can't even hug my stepmom anymore, but it's fine. She smashed like 3 of my friends anyway. So, whatever. My dad's rich. Dude, my buddy Vixen was out there with us, and we haven't seen him. Yeah, pretty sad. He just coasted off into the pines up there at crippled Memphis. I don't know what. I mean, we're probably going to hold a vigil for him later if you want to pull up. Yeah, it's all you can drink. He'd want it that way, but we're going to auction off his van. I mean, it's not his van, but his dad hated him. You're like, what the fuck are we, what? What are we talking about here? Some of the people that worked up there, it was another level, but the place was beautiful and a lot of great folks. And got to go with my tour manager, Tim, and a lot of his boys from Montana, these group of white men. And it got, everybody was chill, man. Everybody was chill, but it was beautiful. So today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. We are grateful they are a sponsor. Because when you're at your best, you can do great things. That's true. You're open to possibility. You're open to things. But sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up in the way that you want to. Well, working with a therapist really can help. It really can. Having some place to go and someone to reflect with. Someone to kind of groom the trail that you're going to walk along. Someone to help you machete some of the growth. Because when you're feeling empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. BetterHelp is there if you need a therapist. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time. I needed BetterHelp. I tried it. And it worked. I had to pull over on a roadside one day and get some dang BetterHelp, and right there, bam. Therapists you can text with, therapists you can FaceTime with. Hell, I FaceTime with one woman so much my damn phone overheated. Shut down. Heat warning. That's how much help I needed. If you want to live a more empowered life, visit BetterHelp.com/THEO today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/THEO. All right, we have great calls from you guys. I want to let you know about this. This is wild. So a while back, somebody made a face fake of me and put it onto the internet and social media. And so I am in it. You know, it's my face put over Kai the hitchhiker. Smash, smash, smash. He's the famous smasher, you know. He's that handyman that fucking couldn't find a nail, cuz you know who that is. That's him, baby. He's that hitchhiking nail hunter, boy. You know? He's that DeWalt. Anyway, there's a documentary about him. He's the famous hitchhiker that hit a guy with a hatchet and hatcheted a guy out to save this kind of thicker little biscuit lady who was getting getting attacked or hugged out. It's the whole story's insane. But anyway, what happened was, so somebody put my face onto a Kai the hitchhiker onto his story, right? It went around on social media as we put it up on social media. So he filed a lawsuit. He says, or this document says, Caleb L. McGilvery, a jailhouse lawyer. He is apparently, according to this, he's a lawyer now. Says, I've just filed a lawsuit because of the video you made. If you want to settle outside of court, the U.S. Marshals will be coming to your door to hand you a summons. You'll never, if you want to settle outside of court, now's your chance. I'll settle for what my costs are, which is approximately so-and-so amount. And then he wants the videos down. And he will withdraw the lawsuit. And we can go our separate ways. I don't know. I'm a jailhouse lawyer, and he has 9 years of litigation experience. And he may, look, I don't know how to handle this, but that's why. I mean, I literally was just seeing the documentary about him, and here's this. And it's funny because during the documentary, I think you can relate some with this feral child, this young man who something was uncomfortable or wrong in his upbringing. Something was off. And he appears very kind of manic a lot. And, also there's a lot of transient people. That's some of the energy that's out there. But a good-hearted dude, kind of dude that would just, give you the skirt off his back, or whatever. And that's good. And you kind of love the guy, but just an amazing, interesting story. And then got this court summons, and this all appears very real. So I'm gonna have to talk with an attorney. I got a buddy over there at Morgan & Morgan. I'll hit him up and see. Maybe on the next solo episode we can actually address that, and I can get some more information. So, what else? I've been talking to a gal, and that was good. It was cool. And then she didn't really want to, I think I wasn't her thing, kind of. So that was, that's been interesting. I don't know if it's been interesting. I don't know if that's the word. It was like, I don't know. It's interesting when you're trying to date or whatever, and then you kind of put yourself out there. You say to someone, hey, it's like the hokey pokey. You put your right foot in, and they put their right foot in. So now y'all are a couple of right foot. Y'all are a couple of just right foot. You guys are right there. And then you're like, that left foot, it wants to go in. You're like, let's go. Let's get in. Let's do it. And then somebody's got to put that left foot in first, usually. And I put that bitch in, dog. And then it was just both of my feet, and just one of her feet was in there. And I'm like, ugh. And she don't want that. She don't want that 2-footed bad boy. She don't want that Dos Zapatos animal. You know what I'm saying? And she took her foot out. And then you're just standing there by yourself. You're on your own 2 feet, so that's good, and you're in a new place. You're in like a little bit of a braver place because you went there a little. But yeah, I think that shit, I think it's always been tough for me to tell somebody I like them. That's always been tough for me. I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to. It just, man, there's a part inside of me. It's not even me. It's something deep inside of me that feels very scared to say, very scared to say, I like you. I think it's to a woman, very scared to say, okay, I'm going to do this. So I don't have a lot of self-pity about it. I'm not trying to whine about it. I'm just trying to share what's going on in my life and things that are just things that are just normal, But yeah, there's something I talked about it a little bit on the Louis episode, and if you didn't get to listen to that, it was awesome, man. It was really awesome, and I talked a little bit about it on there. I think we had a voicemail comment about it. Let me see if I can find this voicemail.
Theo, man, it's Cam down here in North Carolina.
What's up, Cam? Thank you for calling, brother. I appreciate you calling. Cam, that's a good name, baby. Cam. Could be short for camera. Chamomile. You know, this is our son, chamomile. Yeah, soak him in hot water. Oh, see what happens. Or cam, the past tense of came, I guess. You know, somebody. Oh damn! Somebody ran up and just cammed on him. You know, and took off. You know, or last week he got somebody cammed on him at the house and just ruined supper. You know. Anyway, onward.
I just got done listening to you and Louis C.K., and I just want to congratulate you, man, for the compliment he gave you on your comedy. I can just imagine how good that felt from your point of view, and I was so happy for you hearing him speak the truth on your talent, but also I know he's got to be a hero for you, and that must have been a magical moment for you. I was so happy. It kind of brought a tear to my eye.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the consideration and for calling about that. You know, it's interesting. I texted him a few days after. Because there was one thing he said in a video. There was a lot of stuff he said, and in a weird way, I wish I'd tried to. You know, he said some things. Like he said one thing. He said, "You can't be a pedophile if you're a child." Which was interesting. Like, and I'd never realized that in my life I needed to. When I was young, there's funny. You know, I don't want to say funny, but there's things that happen with kids where you know, people see each other's wieners or booties or whatever. People, you know, you're humping your pillows and, you know, like Louis was talking about telling juicers, him and his buddy at like summer camp. And there's things that happen, you know, where, you know, I had some moments when I was a kid when I would just hug my sister so hard, like she was a doll. And I think I felt a lot of shame about that. And I'd never had a man say, "Hey, you're not, this is not, none of this makes you a bad person." I'd never had any that ever happened in my life. So it was interesting that even just sitting there talking with him, when he said that, I needed that. I needed in my life to hear a man who, you know, who's older than me. I don't know how old Louis is, but I think he could be my dad if he had me at a young age. And I just needed to hear someone I had looked up to in certain aspects. You know, I don't know all the aspects of his life, but as someone that I had some admiration for, I needed to hear them say something like that. And I just didn't realize it. And sometimes you don't know where those pieces of life hit you at. You don't know who has. Anybody could say something that you needed your father to say, or you needed your mother to say. So that was interesting to me, and I texted him and I said, "Hey, you know, I just wanted to say thanks. There was this thing you said that I had needed to hear in most of my life, and I had never heard it because I'd had a lot of shame about things, even just about, you know, I think you have shame about masturbating and, you know, spraying out and everything, and you know, and my dad had just had he didn't engage with me about any of that or talk about it, you know. He had me bury damn half of a Smurf's bed sheet in the yard, and it was just always very uncomfortable. So to even have little moments like that, but I think I just found some connection in that call with him. Just hearing a voice that's knowledgeable, but he wasn't judgmental. Obviously he's been through all the nooks and crannies of, you know, sexual discussion and thought probably in his own head. And so, yeah, just to have like an adult say that, that you can't be, you're not bad for, it was, I don't know. It was kind of blanket, but it just hit me and I needed to hear that. And I never knew I did. So anyway, there were moments like that. Anyway, sorry to interrupt your call so much. Let's go onward.
And the reason for that is just because you put yourself out here and you make yourself vulnerable. And there's a lot of us out here that really benefit from that, man. And I know when I'm going through some shit, I can tune in and listen to you, and I feel better. So I appreciate you, and just keep doing your thing, man.
Gang, baby. Thanks, Cam. I appreciate that call, man. Yeah, there was some moments with Louis where I just felt, I don't know what else to do except be myself sometimes. I know it might sound crazy, but I don't know. There's so much inside of myself that wants to get out of me. And there's things I want to say that I don't even know what they are. There's things that are inside of me. I think there's conversations I never got to fucking have as a kid. I think there's a lot of shit just inside of me that's like, and I know people say, hey, don't think about the past. And I'm not thinking about it. But that shit lives in me, dog. And I think there's a lot of like, I don't know. I'm a late bloomer, man. I know I am. And that's okay. If you go through a whole childhood of not getting to have interaction or to talk or have any idea what your feelings are or help somebody mold what feeling even is, and you're just surviving in the fucking world, and then at some point you start to quit trying to survive, then I still have a whole Rolodex of shit that I didn't get to get right, or I never got to even get wrong. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of that shit makes me fucking, and some of it still makes me angry sometimes. There's a lot of, I got a lot of anger in me sometimes. And people say forgive and forget. I get that. I'm in a program doing all that shit. But that just because you say you forgive doesn't mean that something just disappears. Because some of this shit, man, it fucking lives in me. Sometimes there's still a kid inside of me that's so fucking angry, bruh. And it's my job as an adult just to not to let him drive the boat, Anyway, I'm not trying to get into self-pity, but there was just a lot during that conversation. It's like I'm still collecting conversations that should have happened when I was a kid. And I'm out here, trying to collect them as an adult. And not even collect them. I just don't know where they're going to happen. And sometimes I don't know that they are going to happen. It just, nothing you could do, So I'm just grateful that God lets me be alive and that gives me an opportunity to have some experiences. But thank you for the call, dude. I was excited. I felt like we had a good connection. I didn't know. I was scared. I'd seen Louis one time in the hall at the Comedy Store when he was very famous in mainstream media. And, he seemed very standoffish. He seemed like a fancy guy. And, but I also didn't know him. But, he didn't seem like approachable or anything. But I felt excited to get invited to his show. I hadn't gone to a comedy show I'd been like the first comedy show I'd ever been to. And then I went to see Bob Newhart one time in Chicago, and then I saw Louis of actual show where I went and just sat in the audience and watched. I've seen a ton of sets at the Comedy Store and that, but anyway, this is getting a little bit long here. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of news here, and then we'll go on to the, I'll tell you about the fashion show. What happened here in the news? We got Alabama woman who joined ISIS wants back in the U.S. Nope. Bye, bitch. That's what I'm saying. A woman who left Alabama, joined the Islamic State in 2014, now says she regrets her action and is hoping to return to the United States. If I need to sit in prison and do my time, I will do it. I won't fight against it. Oh, now that's interesting. That could be fair. But I don't know. You know, it gets to a point where as a country, you make so many bends of whatever your original rules are that you're not a country anymore. You know, if you have like at the pool rules, say you have the pool rules, and these are the rules. You can't swim during this hours. You can't, no swimming 30 minutes after sandwiches or dining. No diarrheas. No pissing in the pool or whatever. Dookie. So you have those rules, but then you start breaking all the rules. Oh, we'll change this rule, change this rule, change this rule. And then you have somebody that comes up, and this lady, whatever, just sprayed tit milk on the rules. And went off to another country to join a group that was against your original country. I say bye. I say bye, man, because you changed it. Then there's no more rules. Then this pool doesn't exist. Now you got people eating out of the pool, making soup. You got one dude diarrheaing down here by the ladder. The ducks have fecal alcohol syndrome from the duties at the other end. And then somebody's selling duck. You got a Chinese dude selling duck meat on the side of the pool. You know, you got some fellow over there just huffing down duck empanadas, and he gets infected because of the guy by the ladder. Just the whole thing, but it's all because the rules keep getting adjusted. So I say, no. You left. You said, fuck this place. Then that you made go pick another place then. If ISIS didn't work out, you didn't cut it in ISIS. All right, go play hoops in Russia, boo. And some of my reasoning behind with the rules is because at a certain point, the people that care about, that like going to the pool in the beginning, they're not going to want to be at the pool anymore. Nobody's going to want to be at the pool. So now you made all these adjustments about the pool, and you don't have a pool anymore. Now you got a duck soup diarrhea farm. That's what you got. And the people that originally cared about the pool, that made it the pool, they're not going to care anymore. They're going to find some other place. They're going to get into private areas and have their own pool. They're going to figure it out. So I don't know. I just liked it better when, and maybe it's just me, and this is just my perspective, but when it felt like we all had the same pool in mind. What else? Parents in shock as gorillas mate in front of kids at zoo. A pair of gorillas at a zoo left parents shocked as they decided to start doing it like they do on the Discovery Channel right in front of the kids. When you take the kids to the zoo to see all the wonders of the animal kingdom, you've always got to understand there's a risk that all creatures, great and small, will be up to some naughty antics. I love this. Hell, I think the zoo could charge more for animal sex hours, honestly. If you come at 2 p.m., that's when everybody's fucking. You know what I'm saying, bruh? Because you go to some of these cages now, you go to the lion cage, he's in there. He's always sleeping, or he's laid out, or looks like he's on a couple Xannies, you know. They always got a kickball next to him. Who's ever seen a lion play kickball? What fucking lion gets up and he's like, roar? Then you see another lion run up and and the other lions are like, roar, kick it, kick it. There's no fun. What do they do? They're not doing anything. And there's always like a tightrope in the cage going from like one tree to another. Like the lion's just gonna just like walk on the road. Like, I'm a rope lion. I'm a tightrope lion. Roar! Fuck! What the fuck? They don't do shit, man. I'm sick of paying entry fees to see animals not do shit. They don't do shit. These animals don't do shit. They just lay there like rich animals. That's all they are. Because we took them out of the wild. The wild is where God is out there setting it off. And Mother Nature's out there fucking twerking. And people are eating BBQ and getting gunned down. But we take them out of the natural environment. We put them in this rich ass fucking minimum security prison. And they're living large. They're kickballing. They're eating lamb. I saw one video, they're feeding lamb to lambs. I'm sick of these rich-ass animals. That's all this is, man. Have you ever lived in a shitty neighborhood and then moved to a better neighborhood? Have you ever moved from Memphis to Nashville? Okay, that's what's happening with these animals. And people are like, well, we got to set the animals free. No, what? If we set the animals free, every penguin will be at Albertsons in the frozen food section. You'll have every penguin in there fucking just beating open a thing of fish sticks. Every leopard will kill every missing pet in your area. There will be 0 missing animals. You can't free these animals, man. Because they'll be right back in nature. They'll be right back in the wild. And the wild is gangster. That's the UFC for animals, man. These animals, they have it good in the zoo. They got it really, really good. So I say we either put them to work or tell them to take a 4-legged hike. I want to go to the zoo and they should have animal sex hours in the afternoon. 2 to 3 p.m., everybody fucking. All right? $40 to get in. That zoo would be packed. That zoo would be, even the French would be there like, But we got to get these animals to work. These zoos, they're not making any money. Nobody's going to see that. You could watch a nature channel, they fight immediately. The Dana White should do the Nature Channel. These bitches fight immediately on the Nature Channel. So these animals, I think they either need to step it up or get That's what I'm saying. I want to go to the zoo. I want to see, I want to see these apes fist fighting. I want to see the rats making soup like they do in the movie. I want to see penguins miming. Why aren't penguins miming? You got the colors, do the fucking work, boys. But zoos could easily step it up. 2 p.m., all the animals fuck. That's easy. 2 p.m., all the animals fuck. $40 to get in. Bring a rain slicker. Boom. Now we're talking business, baby. But I think if you go to the zoo and see some animals fuck, lucky you. All right? Just make sure that you have a conversation with your son or daughter afterwards to explain what happened and that they shouldn't feel ashamed for watching it. Thank you. 4 NFL teams, 2 conference championship games, and only a few more shots to win big on the NFL playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. If you're not a new customer, you can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped-up same-game parlays. Take your shot at an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. That's right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Theo. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championships and get 200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code Theo. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details and make sure that you are okay to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, this might not be for you. Let's move on. What else do we have? A couple calls that came in. This episode's getting long. That's okay. Went to France. Let me have a sip of my Celsius, man. I went to France. So this thing came out of nowhere, right? Get invited to go to France. And, I don't like the French. You know it. If you had to pick 6 things I don't like, the French would be 4 of them. And so I got invited. They were doing a comedy fashion show. This fella, Kid Super. And at first they said Kid Super. I thought it was one of, like a Make-A-Wish fella. So, sometimes you get those, they got that 40-year-old in a cape or something, and he's, he wants to jump out of a window or whatever, and they won't let him because he's, because he's mentally, he's really, because the devil tickled him whenever he was being made or whatever, and he's not well. But it wasn't. It was a fashion show put on by this fella, Colm Delane. Make sure I get his name correctly. Colm Delane, yes. And a real beautiful fella, man. A really kind, smart, neat guy. And I'd had a friend, Aaron Levy, that was part of the John Elliott clothing brand. So I'd been around some clothing, fashion, high fashion. And I don't know much about fashion. You know that. I mean, look at me. There you go. And I don't. And, I got 3 pairs of pants. I wear one of them all the time. This is it. These little camo deals. It's paper thin, but they're nice, from North Face, and I like them. But anyway, we get invited to this thing, and they said it's going to be, you're wearing, some of the linen, it's just damn fresh silk. You could smell a spider's asshole on it. This shit is hot off the 8 arms, baby. You know what I'm saying? This shit is fresh. And so, yeah, we go. First of all, we get to the airport, and they're taking us on a jet. This thing, Puma put us on a jet. And it's, this thing was long. This thing had 2 bathrooms in it. And I pissed in both of them, cuz, that. Boy, I'll piss in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm pissing at each end of the yard, baby. And I'll let the devil do the laundry, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm pissing when I get in something. That's always who I've been. As a child at night before I go to bed, I'd piss off each side of my bed and I'd piss around it. I'd stand on my bed and urinate around it. Just to keep, whatever bad stuff could come get me, to keep it away. But anyway, so we went there. Who was there? Andrew Santino, Matteo Lane, other comedians, Stavros Halkias, Fari, and he's a French comedian. Who else? Jeff Ross, a couple other comedians. Anyway, so we went out on the stage and we had to walk in a fashion, and we had to do some material on stage. So that was part of it. And it was just wild, this was the most nervous that I'd been to do comedy in a long time, because for one, people are coming to they judge clothing. This is like fancy people. This is like the fanciest people. Everybody has a blog. Everybody has a web page. Everybody has a lawyer. It's people like that. And so you get, it's like, I knew these people were going to be are judgmental about clothes anyway. They're here to judge clothing all week. So if you throw in an outlier like a comedian who's coming in, who's not even part of their world, we're the easiest thing for them to hate on. Oh, I can hate on this guy. Oh, easy, done. Comedian, done. So I was like, oh, these MFers, man. And it was rich people, bro. And I don't like the rich, man. I've said it and you know it. And people say, well, man, you make money. And yeah, I do. But I'll never be rich. I'll never be fucking infected with that shit. That shit starts in your heart, son. So I won't be like that. And I know because when I get around rich people, I don't like them. And I just felt that in there. Just that age-old energy, man. You know, because they had a rich doctor when I was young. They had a rich veterinarian, right? And he would drive through our neighborhood. Sometimes people would cut through from the highway there, and then they had another highway. And in between the two highways was our neighborhood. And off of that, people would cut through our neighborhood and drive off to down one of the highways and be nice neighborhoods. And they had this veterinarian, and he would throw dead animals out in our ditch and shit when they drove by. You know? And so that shit always stuck with me, man. You know, like, oh, this is just a place where that's what they think of this. That's what they think of us. This is just a place where we put dead animals. And you could damn use Clorox. You'll never get that shit out of my system. But anyway, and I know this is a judgmental place. People are judging fashion. People are here to be judged. So I know the easiest thing for some blogger, which is basically just a job where you are afraid to fucking fight. The easiest job for a blogger is to point fingers at the outlier that comes in to say this is bad, right? Instead of, saying this is good from all the, bribes or whatever they get, I don't know, or whatever their end goal is. But anyway, say this bad. So I just knew going up against it was going to be tough, and it turned out it was okay, and we did well, and yeah, the Kids Super clothing, it's nice, neat stuff, and Colm, the guy who runs it, was very neat. Andrew Schultz was there. That was fun to get to spend time with him. It was great, man. That was exciting. I went for a walk. I didn't try to do too much in France because I wasn't there long. And you get out in the streets and it's French. People are Frenching, just fucking Frenching around, dog. But we got to go out at night. We went in, they had nice music at night, and just the whole experience was fancy. And it actually ended up being a good experience. Sometimes I carry old ideas into things. And so I got to kind of monitor that. But my nerves are warnings for me. And they say, hey, this is what's up. Beware of this. And I'm glad that they're there. Those are instincts too. Sometimes it's not nerves, it's instincts. And you got to really ask them, are you a nerve or are you an instinct? Tell me. And you got to figure it out. Okay, let's get into a call or two. Here we go. Some that came from you guys. Here we go.
Hi, Theo. This is Faye from Salt Lake City.
Hello, Faye from Salt Lake, baby. And I like salt. Onward.
I just wanted to say that I love the show, and it's had more of an impact than you would probably think, because it is, oddly enough, the only thing that calms down my 78-year-old grandma with dementia. If you don't know, dementia is when the Lord starts deleting all the files in your brain. Yeah, I'm like her main caregiver.
Oh, yeah. That's that spyware, baby. The devil's spyware, baby. Onward.
Yeah, I'm like her main caregiver outside of my grandpa. So 3 days a week she's over here, and she gets real restless without him. One day my fiance had the idea to just throw on this past weekend, put it on the TV, cast it from YouTube to the TV, and it was like magic. And now, like, the whole family knows to do it when she's getting nervous.
Oh, well, that's sweet. That's really sweet. I think it's sweet that you spend time with your grandmother. I'm sorry that parts of her just kind of eroding back into the universe, you know. That's a lot. You know, I'm amazed how much care you have in you. That's pretty fascinating. And I'm grateful that somehow maybe I'm able to be a part of spending time with her. You know, my dad was 76 when he passed, and it's nice. Now I get to spend time with a 78-year-old. That's nice. You know, that's nice. It's there's all these little ways that we get our loose ends kind of tied, you know. So many unexpected ways. Let me hear more.
Just that's first order of business is throw on Theo. Give her some ice cream and throw on Theo.
Now, I see what now. I think she might have y'all. I think a lot of this is about the ice cream. And that's how, and look, so a lot of people will fake dementia to get ice cream. And who can blame them, homie? To be honest, I'd go live in a senior center right now. I think the age you got to be is 55 or 59, right? A lot of them. In Arkansas, I think I want to say 54. But in a heartbeat, I would go live in. You get games every day with other people, right? You can play board games at 4. 4:45, bro, y'all fucking eating, bitch. I'd go live in a senior center right now. You know how much work and enjoyable things you would get done. Play the piano. Talk to somebody about a war. I mean, God, you know? Put up a wanted poster of Bobby Lee outside of your door. VFW meeting tonight in the game room. You know what I'm talking about.
And it's crazy. She thinks that you're here in the living room with her, talking to her, and she thinks she's talking to you, basically. She thinks she's a guest. But yeah, I'm a fan. Grandma's a fan. Whole family, really.
Well, man, I'm honored to have her on every single week. Maybe it'd be interesting to have her on. I don't know. I'm having my producer reach out just as, it may be a lot to put somebody with that on, but there could be some fascination to it. But I'm happy to have her. I'm happy that she is a guest every week. And I'm happy to be a little part of y'all's lives and for sharing that she's a part of mine. That's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Thank you. And give her a hug for me if you're allowed to touch her. I don't know if people like being touched or not, if they are demented or whatever. All right, let's get one more call here that came in. Let's go.
Hey, Theo, this is John from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
What's up, John from Minneapolis? And sorry about what happened to your Vikings, but y'all beat the Saints a while back on that Minnesota Miracle, so that's life, bruh.
I've been listening to your podcast now for about a year, and over the course of this year, I've just been uplifted by it so much. I work for my dad, and I listen to your podcast almost every single day. He owns a window cleaning business and was recently diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. So me and my brother have been having to kind of take over for him. And it's just been a really tough time for my family through this. Anyways, I know you lost your father kind of young. I'm young myself, not as young as you were, but I'm only 21. And I'm just hoping you might have some advice for me on how to move forward through this time of life. Just finding it real hard.
You know, I talked about this a little bit on the Louis episode where, my dad had a girlfriend in his later years, and we went over to her. I was over at her house one night, and she had a nice house, man, and the it looked like it was like a big like a condo. And I'd never been in a condo before, and it had like big windows, and she made these roast beef sandwiches, and the roast beef was like in a pot, and it had like sauce with it, and I'd never seen anything like it. You know, I just felt like the meat itself had just drowned itself and done it on purpose for me. It was that good, you know. And I remember being over there one night, and my dad had gotten, I didn't know that my dad was sick, right? And in the middle of the night, we would sleep out on the couch at her place because they didn't have, because my dad was sleeping in she had an extra room, my dad would sleep in there, and then we slept on the couch. But the couch was nice, boy, and my dad had got up in the middle of the night, and he was going down the hall towards her room, and I was awake, and I was like, what is he doing? Is he, you know, is my dad sexually active? I didn't know. You know, I didn't know what they were doing. You know, I knew it could have, I just didn't know. And so I kind of went over there, you know, because